You're not alone. If you need someone to talk to today, please contact Crisis Services Canada by either calling them at 1-833-456-4566 all hours of the day, or you can text them at 45645 at 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. Eastern Time. Remember, you're not alone, and Crisis Services Canada is here to help. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this edition, the special edition of Seth's Inside Scoop. I'm your host for this episode, Graeme Forsyth. Seth Rach, the man who is featured on this segment, will be joining me after the intro. But just to let you guys know, I know you guys can see it, but the background is different. You guys can see ASTV Productions logo in the background. Why that's there is because we're going to be using a green screen moving forward here on Coffee with Graeme. Of course, this is when the segment was supposed to air yesterday. I actually pulled my neck yesterday waking up, and yeah, wasn't good. Had a lot of pain sitting up, but it's still not great, but feeling a lot better today. But that's why Seth's Inside Scoop is coming to you today. It's a special because we got to break down what the upcoming games are going to be looking like, or rather looking ahead to what the upcoming games are going to be looking like this weekend on the network. But yeah, green screen is going to be here to stay on Coffee with Graeme when you do see those episodes, of course, on Seth's Inside Scoop as well. But I got to sort out, you guys being able to see the table still, because that's kind of part of the brand with Coffee with Graeme. But that aside, I hope you guys enjoy the cool new feature, the green screen here on the show. Anyways, getting into Seth's Inside Scoop today, Seth Rach, ASTV Productions, color commentator, analyst, whatever you guys want to call him, is going to come on to break down, or preview rather, the upcoming games between the Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy U15 male prep Buffaloes and the Notre Dame Hounds. Both games, well, there's going to be two games this weekend between the two teams, both at Blackjack Stewart Arena. Should be a lot of fun. And the man himself, Seth Rach, coming on the show right now to break down these games, preview these games here on Seth's Inside Scoop. And there he is, Seth Rach, joining me on his segment, Seth's Inside Scoop, a special edition of the segment today because we didn't have a show yesterday, Seth. Health problems got in the way, but today feeling a lot better. Happy to have you on here to, give your insight into what these two teams are looking to do this weekend between Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy's U15 male prep program taking on the Notre Dame Hounds. Seth, first off, got to ask you, man, how are you doing on this Friday afternoon?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. Always happy to have the week done and be ready to go into the weekend for the Friday. But yeah, I feel really good and I'm excited to do this again.
Yeah, for sure. No doubt about that. It's Friday today. Of course, we got a busy weekend ahead of us, 2 games here on the network, but going to be a lot of fun this weekend, getting to cover these games that we're going to talk about here today in Pilot-Mound, Manitoba at Blackjack Stewart Arena. Let's start off with Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy coming into this game 1-3 on the season to this point. Of course, they've faced each other before, these two teams, both Notre Dame and Pilot-Mound, both 1-1 against each other. Seth, talk about what it's going to take for Pilot-Mound this weekend to pull off a win or two against Notre Dame.
Yeah, I think it's all about getting their quick legs moving early. I've covered this team at least once before with you, and I noticed they're a pretty fast team. The last game we watched them, it took them a while to get their feet moving. So I know this time, especially against this Notre Dame team who has quite a few good, fast, skilled players themselves, I think they're going to need to come out hard, and I think they're going to need to just play a nice, conservative game. in order to get the win, and maybe even 2 wins this weekend.
Talking about Bo Murray, he was absent the last time that we covered, the game against Pilot-Mound and the Edge. I believe he wasn't in the lineup against the Rink last Friday because it only has him listed at playing 2 regular season games so far. But Bo Murray being one of the stronger players on Pilot-Mound's team this season, maybe even the strongest player so far. But, with Bo Murray, if he's out of the lineup again, what do you think Pilot-Mound is going to have to do to kind of work around that and get some more offense up front from some other guys?
Well, we know Bo Murray is pretty much one of their best players. We've seen him put up some points in the past. Like, looking at his total stats here, he's played 9 total games with the team, and he has 7 goals and 7 assists for 14 points, which is pretty good considering he's missed quite a few games now recently. And I think without him, without the absence of him, they're going to need to play a more defensive style game. So obviously, when one of your more skilled players is out, you're going to need to make up new ways to generate offense. And I believe they're going to do that. And also, they're going to need to tighten up a bit defensively because, as I said before, this Notre Dame team has quite a few offensive weapons. So I think without their offensive weapon in the lineup, they're going to need to figure out a way to keep them off the board while figuring out another way to put some offense from.
And we did just lose Seth. This is not what I expected to happen, to be honest. This is disappointing. Yeah, Seth is gone. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. Has to be something with Seth's internet. I'm not sure. My internet's working fine. I can search stuff pretty clearly, and well, not pretty clearly, but search stuff pretty efficiently, I guess, and do some other stuff. So, you know what? We're going to send it to a commercial break. We're going to take it to our first break of this show. Of course, this episode, this edition of Seth's Inside Scoop is brought to you by Evolve Green and TOVI Hockey. We're going to send it to one of their commercials for a quick commercial break. We're going to get Seth right back in here in just a moment on this edition of Seth's Inside Scoop, a special edition of Seth Rach segment here. Coming up more after the break here on the network, ASTV.
Why go solar? Solar is better than ever. Our revolutionary design and inverter equipment with the latest in solar panel technology for the ultimate in-home and business security. That's right, I said security. Grid security and security of your home are linked. Fortify your future today with a battery backup system. No maintenance, quiet running. Did you know in Manitoba, grid-connected, off-grid, and battery backup systems are 100% right off in the year you purchase for any company or farm? Do you want to back up your internet, keep your tills running, and the lights on? We can install a system that is right for you with battery backup fully capable of taking on all those essential loads and keeping you running. When you call our experts at Evolve Green, ask about getting your free energy audit today. Call or email today to find out what system works best for you. 1-866-5-EVOLVE or support at evolvegreen.ca. Also, be sure to check out our website at www.evolvegreen.ca.
And we're back here on Seth's Inside Scoop. Seth, lost you there for a moment. Must be some connection difficulties with your internet on that side. Not too sure actually what it was, but you can hear me good now, Seth?
Yeah, it is definitely my internet. Not the best today, but we're gonna power through this.
Right. I do remember now you telling me before before we went live here that you were having some Wi-Fi difficulties. And let me tell you, Seth, I've been there before. The viewers on the show know very well what this show's been through with the internet. But let's get back to talking about some hockey this upcoming weekend between Pilot-Mound's U15 team and the Notre Dame Hounds. You know, I forget what we were talking about exactly. We were talking about Bo Murray, but let's shift over to the defensive side of things now. This team has let up a lot of goals so far this season, 47 goals against, like mentioned earlier in this broadcast. But talking about, what you're looking from this Pilot-Mound defense to come in this weekend and show a good defensive effort against Notre Dame.
Yeah, I think they're all going to need to buy into a system the way their coach has it planned out. I think, like I had mentioned before, my Wi-Fi had cut out. This Notre Dame team's a very offensive-minded team, and when you got a lot of stars, you got to make sure you are stable defensively. And Pilot-Mound has had a bit of struggle there in some of their games recently. So I think they just need a few practices, get a breather in, and just make sure you're making the right plays, not trying to force pucks through the middle, not trying to force that stretch pass when you're breaking out. Just play the smart way defensively, get in front. Don't try to screen your goalie, but try to get some blocked shots in there. Just play a reliable defensive game, and I think they got a better opportunity to keep some more pucks out of the net.
Yeah, for sure. And, a huge part of Pilot-Mound's 4-3 win was their goaltending. I forget off the top of my head who started in that game. I believe it was Keane Reed, if I'm not mistaken. But whoever it was, Pilot-Mound looking to get another strong performance from their goaltender in these two matchups, whoever's starting for them coming up against Notre Dame.
Yeah, definitely. I was looking here at some of Keane Reed's stats, and he has looked very, very solid for the games he has played. And, they're going to look to him, especially if against, like I've already said, this strong offensive team, you're going to look to your defense. We already talked about what I think the defense needs, but you're also going to look to your goaltender to make those key saves in the game. Say you guys are tied going late into the game. You got to make sure your goaltender makes those key saves in order to help your team either keep the lead you have or in order to keep the game scoreless, because at the end of the day, no goalie wants to let in a goal. That's always going to, most of the time a goalie will let in a goal unless they get that shutout. So, just for Keane Reed or even their other goalie, Myro, you're going to need just a strong performance from both of them if you want to get the win.
Yeah, for sure. And I will correct you, Seth, on the name you just said. It's crazy how it's actually pronounced. I didn't even know this until Gordy Tummelson told me. It's actually pronounced Pete Moreau.
Okay.
Spelling,
yeah, my bad. Sorry, Pete.
But, yeah, no worries. It is a tough name to pronounce when you look at it the way it's spelled. But yeah, just wanted to let you know for next time, moving forward here in the show. Talking about the defensemen on this Pilot-Mound team, two stand out to me that from when we've watched and just their production on the score sheet is Gage Sutherland and Carson Carroll's two defensemen, very reliable in their own end, as you've seen, Seth, good with their stick, and can really provide some offense as well, moving that puck up nicely out of their zone, positioning out well. Just speak about, what type of impact you feel like those two, both Gage and Carson, are going to have on the weekend's action for Pilot-Mound on their side of things.
Yeah, obviously they're some of the better defensemen on this team, and you're going to look to those guys to play the heavy minutes. Not necessarily every single offensive zone, but you're going to see them get a lot of defensive zone faceoffs because they're very reliable, like you said, on the back end. And you look to these guys to help keep the puck out of the net, whether it's the little things like stick on stick action or blocking a shot. These guys are relied on to do these defensive things. And if these guys can play very solid like they have in the past, I think, Pilot-Mound has a good chance at, shutting down Notre Dame.
Yeah, for sure. And, I think we might have been talking about it last time, but last time when we were broadcasting them, I forget if it was the U15s or the U17s now, but Pilot-Mound's power play, this U15's power play, from what we've seen so far, what are you looking for them to take advantage of out there when they do get their advantages of getting, those opportunities on the extra man advantage?
Yeah, I think it's going to be all about quick puck movements. Obviously, you need to be patient against a hard forechecking team like Notre Dame, but just be patient and move the puck well and make good hard passes tape to tape. You're going to want to cycle. I noticed a lot in that other game when they did have the power play, there was a lot of cycling, which is really good, but they got to focus on making sure those passes land tape to tape, like I said. So eventually you'll be able to move the defending players around on the penalty kill and have an open spot for that shooter in the bumper position to get a shot on net, potentially even a goal.
Let's talk about a player to watch, or rather, some keys to the game some more. I know we've been talking about a bit what Pilot-Mound is going to need to do in this game, but if you had to narrow it down to three things, we'll go 3 things here that Pilot-Mound is going to have to do in this game to once again get a win or maybe even 2 this weekend against Notre Dame when they come to Pilot-Mound.
Yeah, for one, I think it's just going to be defensive zone reliability. Like we've already talked about, they've had a few struggles defensively here and there throughout the year. So I think as long as they can, stick to their game, focus on what their coaches said during practices to them, and play just a good sound game. Not, like I said before, not trying to make those force pucks through the middle into forcing stretch passes as well. As long as they play a reliable game and a shutdown game at that, I think they got a good opportunity there. And I'm kind of going to go with a little bit of a theme for the other two, and I'm going to just say defense, offense, and goaltending. Make sure you're reliable in all zones. Try not to make those, like I said, forcing pucks to areas where players might not necessarily be open. Like if there's a guy up high, don't try to throw the puck up to him because there could be a player in the middle that could intercept that pass. So as long as you're playing a good, reliable game in all zones, the goaltenders are playing strong, the offense is playing strong, and they're not giving up gift wrap opportunities for the other team, I think they got a good chance to win this game. Or both these games.
Yeah, for sure. Pilot-Mound definitely looking to improve that record this weekend. Coming off of a 16-0 loss. I'm not going to talk about that because we're just previewing the games coming up. But Pilot-Mound definitely looking to give a better showing this weekend than they did last Friday against the Rink. But one more thing about Pilot-Mound. It seems like every time they get blown out, they come back stronger in their games. A very resilient team. Do you think that could also be one of the keys this week is Pilot-Mound's resiliency, if they can tap into that in game if they're maybe down a goal or two?
Yes, definitely. Often you see teams anywhere, no matter what league you're watching, if they get blown out the week before or the game before or whatever it is, they're going to come out hard the next game and they're going to come out very, very hungry. And I expect nothing less from this Pilot-Mound team. I definitely believe they're going to be coming out and trying to fire on all cylinders and try to get the first goal, definitely. And even, like I said before, get the win on both these games in the weekend.
Yeah, for sure. And Pilot-Mound's had some time to sit and reflect on that game. They've had some time to sit with it. So for sure, I feel like, they're going to be fired up to come out and give a better showing and try to get the win, like we said, this weekend coming up. Talking about one more thing about Pilot-Mound, and then we'll go to a commercial break, start talking about Notre Dame after that. But for Pilot-Mound, a player that you're looking for a player to watch this weekend on their squad.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Keane Reed, the goaltender. You had kind of referenced that loss they had the other week, where they lost 16-0. We don't want to go into that, but after a big loss, often goaltenders after big losses can really come back and be like almost impossible to beat. And I'm really expecting to see this from the goaltending. Whoever gets to start, I'm expecting both these goalies to come out and be the top players on their team. By the end of the game, I believe both these goaltenders will be their top players.
Well, there it is. That's player to watch, or rather players to watch, depending which goaltenders start, either if it's Keane Reed or Pete Moreau. Those are going to be his players to watch, his position to watch for Pilot-Mound. We're going to go to a commercial break. And after this commercial break, we're going to move over to the other team, the team coming into Pilot-Mound, Manitoba to play the Buffaloes, the Notre Dame Hounds, coming up here on Seth's Inside Scoop. Seth going to break down this Notre Dame team and talk about what they're going to need to do on this upcoming weekend against Pilot-Mound and more here coming up on Seth's Inside Scoop on this special edition of Seth Rach segment here on ASTV Productions. Stick around. And welcome back to Seth's Inside Scoop here on ASTV Production, the special edition of Seth's Rock segment because we weren't able to get it out to you guys yesterday. I am actually going to throw it to one more commercial break because I'm noticing my mic is pretty bad here, Seth. So I'll be right back after this commercial break with Seth Rach here on Seth's Inside Scoop. Stick with us. Sorry for the technical difficulties once again.
Welcome to Pilot-Mound Hockey-Academy, your world-class academic and hockey training facility created to maximize each student's athletic and academic potential. Blackjack Stewart Arena, home of the Buffalo, is inside the 46,000 square foot complex, as well as a curling rink and other facilities. The students have a unique combination of successful, well-rounded education at Pilot-Mound Collegiate Institute and the professional hockey training in an encouraging community. The years of experience of on-ice coaching propel our students to the next level, both mentally and physically, in a professional environment.
And we're back here on Seth's Inside Scoop. Seth, how is my mic sounding? Is it sounding better this time around?
Yeah, definitely. I know.
Okay, right on. So we got that sorted out. I had to play a lot of commercials there to, play while I was getting the stuff to plug this mic in because my adapter was upstairs. But we're back here on Seth's Inside Scoop. As mentioned before, we took our most recent commercial breaks here. We were talking about how we're going to start talking about Notre Dame coming into this weekend against Pilot-Mound. Seth, 2-4, on the season. 34 goals for 24 games. You already spoke about how dangerous this Notre Dame team is. Speak about, what you think they're going to be looking to do coming out here against Pilot-Mound this weekend coming up.
Yeah, I think it's going to be similar to what Pilot-Mound wants to do. I think since they're a little bit more, I believe, offensive-minded team, I think they're definitely going to try to come out firing on all cylinders. They got a lot of these players that can really hammer the puck, really can skate the puck, and I'm expecting just a very quick, fast start for them. And I think that's going to probably go out through the whole game. This team has a lot of speed, like I had mentioned, and I just think that's what they're going to be coming to do, skating fast and firing on all cylinders.
Talking about their offense some more, not only do they have a lot of players with skill up front, but a lot of players that can put the puck in the net. Not sure if this is just forwards and defense combined, but 13 different goal scorers on this team so far this season. Alexis Levine leads the team with 5 goals, and Cade McIver, a defenseman, leads the team in points with 11, leads the whole div of U15 prep in the CSSHL in defenseman points for defensemen. But talking about this offense that they're going to provide, talking about the depth that they have, how key that's going to be in this weekend's upcoming games against Pilot-Mound.
Oh man, yeah, that's going to be really, really key. They have all this depth, like you had mentioned. It's just when they have all these different weapons on their team, it's like, well, it doesn't matter what line they put out there. It's going to be very, very tough for Pilot-Mound to hold these guys off. So I think, yeah, like we just had mentioned, they just got so much depth, and that is going to be just the key, I think, for them. Just get everyone shooting, everyone, all systems go. They're going to be passing the puck. We're also going to be shooting a lot of pucks. So I think the depth is like one of the main things here that we're going to be seeing with this team come this weekend.
As mentioned before, Cade McIver, a defenseman, leading the team and the U15 prep division in points by a defenseman with 11. When you're able to have a defenseman that can provide offense like Cade has been able to do so far this season, Seth, just how huge is it going to be for them getting some support, their forwards getting some support from a defenseman like Cade McIver with the offense he'll be producing or he'll be looking to produce this weekend?
Oh, it's going to be so important. And a lot of these guys in this league probably know how dangerous this Cade McIver is. And I was actually going to mention him before you had even mentioned him. So that's funny. But yeah, this guy is a guy who does everything right. When he's in his own zone, he's doing all the right things. But we're talking about offense, and this guy really has all the tools you need to, whether it's quarterbacking a power play, whether it's coming up on the rush with the forwards, being the fourth guy in, or whether it's just shooting in general. This guy has so many different abilities. And for a defenseman to be leading your team and to be being one of the league leaders, I think that's just a big, big boost for this team.
Yeah, for sure. And a side note here, I did just get a message from Glenn, Seth, that my mic is still bad. My apologies to everyone that is having to listen to this mic I'm using right now and suffering with the audio that's coming through from my side. I don't know how to fix it right now because we are live on air, so we're just going to have to roll with it here. But we haven't seen Notre Dame play at all this season, Seth, so we don't really know what this team plays like. So we're going to just go into their goaltending now, of course. 24 goals against this season in 6 games played. Talking about this goaltending for Notre Dame this season, what you're expecting out of them this weekend against Pilot-Mound.
Well, we had talked about their offense and how they're really, really good. So I think these goaltenders, they might not get as much shots as Pilot-Mound's goaltenders are going to get coming these games. So I think the key for them is just to stay in the game, keep your head in the game. Oftentimes when you go a long time without a shot, that can kind of catch you off guard when the team comes the other way. They can score a weird one on you. So just for them, you just got to make sure they're in the game still, no matter what they're focusing in. And when that puck comes, just control your rebounds. That's one thing you see with goaltenders when they don't face a lot of shots, is sometimes they can let some rebounds go. And that are just ones that, they normally would have under control. So I'm really expecting these goaltenders to just focus in, just be completely dialed in the whole game for this team to succeed.
Talking about special teams, of course, like mentioned, we haven't seen this Notre Dame team yet, but what are you looking for their power play unit? What you expect the game plan would be for them? Already playing Pilot-Mound so far this season, they've probably had opportunities on the power play and both the penalty kill, but starting off with their special teams on the power play first, how you expect Notre Dame to come out and try to execute on Pilot-Mound's penalty kill?
Well, yeah, like we had talked about before, these guys got a lot of shooters, so I'm expecting they're going to pull out the classic one guy, the right-handed shot on the left side. So you gotta, if you can have that, you can have these sharpshooters in those positions. It's going to be very, very, very tough for Pilot-Mound to be able to stop this. And I think with the amount of talent that this team has, especially up front and even on the back end, like how we mentioned with Cade McIver before, I think their power play is going to be. It's going to make or break these games for this weekend.
Of course, penalties are part of the game for both teams. Notre Dame is, along with Pilot-Mound, both of these teams are going to be bound to taking penalties in this game. It's just the way the game goes. I'll be very surprised if there aren't any special team opportunities at all in this game, Seth, from what we've seen so far this season. But, just talking about when Notre Dame gets down a man or two on the penalty kill, what you're looking for them to do against Pilot-Mound's power play.
Mm-hmm. Well, since they got a lot of speed in their lineup, I'm expecting a very aggressive penalty kill. Oftentimes when you see these really talented teams that have a lot of speedy forwards, you're going to notice these forwards are going to be up and they're going to be on these guys. They're going to form a very solid box like most defensemen or like most penalty kills do. And I think I'm expecting a very aggressive sort of, not conservative at all. They're going to be going for it and really trying to clear pucks out on the penalty kill. And I'm just expecting a very aggressive penalty kill from this team.
You've already talked about the speed. You talked about what they need to do on the power play, the penalty kill, what the forwards are going to have to do, the defensemen, the goaltenders as well. But same thing as we talked about earlier for this team, for Notre Dame, what are the three things you think that they're going to need to do to come out and get the wins this weekend against Pilot-Mound?
I think they're going to need to come out like they have before in their previous wins. They're going to come out fast. They got to come out really fast. That's one of the keys. We've talked about speed. I've mentioned speed multiple times for this team. I think that's going to be the number one thing they're going to focus on in this game. The number one key for them is going to be activating their jets as soon as they can and getting into this game early. Another one of the keys for me is going to be their power play, like we had mentioned before. They got a lot of weapons on their power play, and if they are unable to produce on that power play, that could really, really hurt them, especially considering they have these guys who have performed really well on the power play in the past. And the last thing is probably going to be the other thing I mentioned before. The other thing you talked to me about is their penalty kill. You gotta establish a good penalty kill if you want to have a chance in this league. And this team, I think, has a really good one. So I believe that they're gonna, that the penalty kill is gonna be a big thing for this game coming up.
Well, there you have it. Seth's three keys to the game for Notre Dame coming up this weekend against Pilot-Mound. We'll finish off with this one, Seth. A player to watch for Notre Dame this weekend. One player you're queuing in on or looking at closely.
Yeah, it's no surprise. I'm going to go with the guy we've already mentioned like 5 times. I'm going to say Cade McIver because this guy's really impressing me. I haven't seen any of his highlights yet, but I see what he's done on paper, and I'm really, really excited to see what he can do in person when we cover those games on the weekend here.
Yeah, and I'm right there with you, Seth. Going to be a lot of fun to see what Cade McIver, as well as what the rest of what this Notre Dame team is going to be able to do against Pilot-Mound. Same for Pilot-Mound as well. But yeah, that's going to do it for this edition of Seth's Inside Scoop on ASTV Productions. This was a special edition of the show because, like I mentioned in the intro and in some other parts in this episode, weren't able to get a edition of Coffee with Graeme out yesterday. But these two games that we talked about today going to be coming to you live 2 times this weekend. 2 games, of course. First game goes at 5 p.m. tomorrow, and then, of course, on Halloween morning at 11 a.m., you guys should maybe wake up and check out Pilot-Mound's second game, their U15 U15s taking on the Notre Dame Hounds. ASTV Productions will have a pregame show for you guys before those games, so tune in a bit early on before the game starts, way before then, to watch the pregame show. Seth, you take care. Have a wonderful rest of your Friday, and we'll see you tomorrow and the rest of this weekend, man. You take care.
Yeah, thanks. It's always great for you to have me on.
Yeah, for sure. Folks, we're going to sign off the show now. Graeme Forsyth and Seth Rach wishing you all a wonderful rest of your Friday, as well as a wonderful weekend. Spend it with your family, spend it with your friends, do whatever you guys want to do to let loose, and, as well as stay safe out there. Until tomorrow, when me, Seth, Cody Wall, and the rest of our crew is in Pilot-Mound, Manitoba at Blackjack Stewart Arena. We'll see you then. Peace out, everybody.